Hey everybody, welcome back to Top Wins with Wins. Today we're going to discuss how our previous game weeks went, what forward options are the best going forward, and what Game Week 17 looks like. Hey there everyone, this is Luke here with Top Bins with Twins. Paul is sitting right here next to me, and we are getting ready to talk to you about some FPL. Paul, how you doing?
I'm good. It's a dark time to be an Arsenal fan, but my FPL team is doing decently well, so there's some balance, I guess,
Well, it's a bad time of the year for it to be a little dark because the sunlight's leaving pretty early in the day. We don't want you to get too sad, Paul, so have hope. Arsenal are going to turn the corner sometime soon. They're going to push Liverpool. I bet it happens.
We shall see. I am cautiously optimistic, I'd say. But this is an FPL pod. It's not a let's talk Arsenal pod. So let's just let's just talk about tell us how your team did last week and we can go from there.
Okay. So last week in game week 16, I had 62 points. The average was 47, so I beat the average by 15. I'm now up to about 2.6 million overall.
Tell everybody where you were at.
I've gained about 2 million in my overall rank since over the last 4 to 5 game weeks. So definitely happy with that.
A lot of improvement.
Yes, I will say my week started out extremely well. I was within about 150K for the overall weekly rank. Ended up dropping down to about 1.2 million for the week. And that was just due to Cole Palmer blanking, even Nilsson blanked. Just for a quick rundown of my team so everyone knows some little context here. I had double Arsenal clean sheet with Rye and Timber. I had Hall's 15-pointer, which we will not even get into the controversy of what is an assist, what is not an assist. We'll leave that up to other people to figure out. I think when it comes down to it, though, if you have Hall, you're going to say that's assist. If you don't have him, you're going to say, not sure if I believe that, but it is what it is, right? FPL towers, they make their own rules kind of as things go. And it's a game of football, right? Every situation is kind of unique. So they are in a tough situation there. But I got a Gordon assist, a Salah assist, Cunha goal, which Cunha, we'll talk about him. He is in a world of trouble. He was a naughty boy.
It's not looking good for Cunha.
Apparently, you can't just walk up to an opposing team's, one of their assistant managers or whoever works for their staff and just grab their glasses and hit them in the back of the elbow. You can't do that, apparently. That's weird. Yeah, he's in big trouble.
And Luke saying that he deserves everything coming his way.
He does. That was very sarcastic of me. He definitely does. You cannot do that. That's not acceptable.
It's not.
So if you do have Cunha in your team, prepare to be moving him on pretty soon. And I think that's something we're going to talk about here is the forward options or the lack thereof for suitable forward options. So, yeah, that was pretty much a game week. I wish Cole Palmer would have returned. That would have been huge. He did manage
Still got a
bonus point with no returns. Just shows how much of a BPS magnet he is. Good old Cole Palmer. So, overall good week. Keep climbing up the ranks as I hope to do during the festive fixtures. So I'm really happy right now with FPL. And with that, I will pass it over to Paul. How did your game week go?
So I ended on 60 points this week, so 2 points below Luke. A decent week for me. It kind of stopped. I had 2 consecutive red arrows the last 2 weeks, so having a green arrow this week is really good. It kind of puts my rank. I am sitting at 576K in the world.
Oh, very nice.
So good. I think it's always good whenever you've had progressive bad weeks to kind of like stem the bleeding a little bit,
For sure.
and kind of reverse course. So love to see that. In my team this week, Gabriel and Hall had 24 of my 60 points from the back line.
Over a third of your points,
which is crazy,
almost half
from 2 defenders. And then I had a Gordon assist like Luke. Cole Palmer was my captain. So we got the bonus point, 6 points. Salah got an assist, Cunha goal. And that was it. But in reality, it does feel like a week that could have been more for me. Because I have Odegaard in my team, which was kind of a decision I made in my wild card a couple weeks ago because I thought Saka wasn't going to be playing. I regret that immensely, but it's fine. I mean, Odegaard he should have scored last game week.
Yeah, no, he
Like,
had that. I was watching the beginning of that match with you, and he had
for
that
sure
cross.
he had two opportunities where he kind of ran under the ball in the middle of the box that you expect him to finish. I mean, it was just a weird match against Everton, and he gets subbed in the 62nd minute. So overall, not great, but I feel like I could have got more out of that. And then I also had Verbruggen in the back, which I can't ever say his name. It always bothers me.
Verbruggen.
I just can't get that one down. And I mean, they give up three goals to Crystal Palace. I mean, that's just been honestly one of the worst decisions of my season to wildcard him in as a goalkeeper. But who knows? Maybe next week. But overall, I think a good week for me. Like I said, the main thing is that it stemmed the bleeding. And in our mini league, I am now sitting 2 points off the top. So I'm in a good spot right now.
There you go. That's awesome.
And also, Luke in our mini league, too, has put himself in a position where he can challenge now, too.
I'm within. I can see the top competitors at the moment, so I'm within striking distance.
He's probably like 2 good game weeks away from being like right there, you know?
Yeah, I just need one of those massive game weeks where I double the average, and then I'm right there if everyone else doesn't have that week.
Yeah.
But one of the hard things about right now is that it seems like everyone's teams are kind of coalescing into the same kind of formation, right? We see a lot of people with Salah, Saka, and Palmer, and then some cheap forward options with Arsenal defense, and the fringe midfielders are kind of where you make up your ground. So it's kind of hard for me to feel like I can really gain rank, but at this point, I just need to make sure I'm bringing in players who are consistently returning. Make sure that I'm getting those points where I feel like I can't be turned off by other people having players, right? Is what I'm trying to get at there. So it's something to keep in mind. But yes, very excited with how my season has been progressing as of late. The festive fixtures are always so much fun, right? One of the players I wanted us to talk about real fast before we go into getting ready for Gameweek 17 is Anthony Gordon. He has been a lot better the last 3 to 4 game weeks. If you just watch him, he looks so lively. And he set up Hall for a lot of the positions he was in. Gordon was the assist to the assister in 2 different times, right? He looked lively. He looked like back to the player he was at the beginning of last season when he was terrorizing teams. Gordon's someone that I had planned on moving out, but I'm not sure now. I don't know if I want to go there and get rid of him.
It's an interesting fixture run, though. Like, if you're looking at it, I mean, they play Ipswich away, Villa at home, Manchester United away, Tottenham away. And after that, it kind of flips to go really good, where they play Wolves at home in 21, Bournemouth at home in 22, Southampton away, and then Fulham at home. So, I mean, they have a pretty good fixture run.
They do.
He's in my team, and I think in a lot of the iterations, I have 3 transfers going into next week. He's going out as of right now on my team.
Oh, going out before Ipswich?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That feels like it's a bit risky.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on who you're bringing in, though.
That's the thing.
Yeah, we don't have to discuss, but I would say if you're gonna do that, either come to terms with the fact that he could return against Ipswich, because Ipswich's defending has been a bit suspect this season.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming from the eye test, and also from looking at some underlying expected data. But if you feel like you're bringing in a player that over the next 3 to 4 game weeks, which is kind of the timeline I imagine you're looking at because of those fixtures you just talked about, then I could see it being a good upside move. Although, to push back a little bit, do you think Villa at home is a tough matchup for Newcastle?
I think it's a good matchup for them. I think Newcastle is immensely a better team at home. It's kind of almost the same situation as last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Villa have been questionable at best this year.
Right.
I think they were good at the beginning of the season. Now they've kind of fallen off again. I think, honestly, this is the discourse. I think we all kind of know that being in Europe has really changed their season. It's really hard for them to meet the requirements of both, playing in both situations. So they're not the team they were last year. There's no question about it.
And they're missing Douglas Luiz, who you were talking about this yesterday, Paul. He was a big piece of how they were able to create chances. Not having him really is hurting them. While we're on Villa, I think we should talk about Duran is someone who looks like he has the skill set to be an elite striker. And I wonder when we see Watkins maybe move to the bench, right? At some point it's going to happen because Watkins has not been producing the goods this year.
I mean, am I wrong, or did
Duran started in the Premier League this past weekend?
Yeah, he started for Watkins against Forest.
He did. But my point being is what I'm trying to get there is, when does Duran become a locked-in starter where we feasibly could go there for FPL, right? That's kind of the big question there. So,
well, the thing about that, Luke, not to interrupt you, is that Duran's price point so much better than Watkins. I mean, what is Watkins like?
He's 9, maybe 9.1.
I think Duran is what, like 5.7?
Much cheaper. Yes, I'll look it up.
I mean,
fast.
if you just think about the value in your team, I mean, Duran is such a good budget pick, especially if he's going to get a consistent run of games. Which obviously there's always Ollie Watkins leaning over his shoulder, but if he keeps scoring, he's going to keep starting.
Yep. So
he's going to keep playing. So
price comparison, Ollie Watkins is currently at 8.9 million. He's dropped from 9, and Duran is 5.8 million pounds. So you're saving 3.1 million if you go with Duran there. Obviously, you're rolling the dice a little bit. Watkins, because of who he is probably Emery's going to do everything he can to make him be the starter, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, there's also a situation too where it depends on how Villa's season keeps going, but maybe they experiment and play both of them together up front.
Yeah, Emery, he said that in the past, but man, you just watch Duran play and he has moments of magic in him that a lot of footballers just can't access that level that he gets to. He just has brilliance in him.
He really hits a ball, you know?
He does. And he's a player who uses his natural instincts extremely well. And he's fun to watch play, right? So we'll see how it plays out. But I could see Duran being a good option. And Villa, I think they have a pretty good run. Yeah, so I like their run after Gameweek 18.
Mm-hmm.
They have Brighton at home, Leicester at home, Everton away, Arsenal away, then West Ham at home, Wolves away, Ipswich at home. So, I mean, if we figure out that around Gameweek 19 or so, that Duran is going to be starting, and in that starting 11 for Premier League games, week in, week out, a lot of people will be going there.
Yeah. I agree with you. It's, I think that's for sure something to sit and wait on it. Maybe if you have a watch list, put Duran on there. Yep. Keep an eye out there for him. But as of right now, I think very risky to go that direction. But I think it's an interesting conversation to have and something that managers should be considering.
Another risky proposition for you, Paul. As I was looking through the stats, kind of getting ready for this week, a player who came up over, the statistics from the last game week for XGI numbers was Cody Gakpo. He's someone that has been playing in the last 5 Premier League games. He's gotten 60 minutes at least for Liverpool, one of the better attacking teams. And he's also in the forward position within FPL. He's categorized as a forward. My question to you is Gakpo, so he's currently selected by 3% of the game. There's a very good reason why. He's priced at 7.1 million, so you're paying a lot for him. And we're not sure if he's going to start week in, week out. But he's someone that I think could be a very interesting option. Strictly from the perspective of getting another another attacking option from Liverpool, but using the forward line. I know Jota's somewhere on the horizon being back to full health and, getting into the discussion of starting week in, week out. So that's something to keep in mind, but maybe Gakpo is first choice on the left wing. Once Jota gets back, he's playing up top. You have Sabazalai or maybe even Curtis Jones playing through that middle cam role and then Salah on the right. I don't know. It's very possible. Luis Diaz has definitely cooled off as of late. He is not having the goal output that we saw from him early in the season. So I'm just thinking now, if you can get Gakpo into your team, he's at 3% owned. If he goes on a run, and I absolutely love Liverpool's fixtures for the next, all the way up till game week 25.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy how good their fixtures are and the
It's
position
almost
they're
like
in
the Premier League wanted them to win this year.
with the game in hand. All right, Arsenal fan, calm down over there.
I mean, look
But
at this shit.
what do you think about Gakpo?
One of the biggest things we highlight in this podcast, at least I think that I highlight, and I think we both do, is expected minutes from a player.
X-Men's.
It is impossible to get a positive result from a player on the bench, right?
Fair.
Literally
Yes.
impossible. They can also they can take points away from the bench too. That's possible too. But to me, I just don't like he could go on a run, but I mean if you even look at it, I mean he played 69 minutes against Fulham. He played 66 against Newcastle, 72 against City, and then 61 against Southampton. Like, I mean, if you just collectively look at all those fixtures, I mean, that's about like almost a full match he's missing.
Mm-hmm.
And on all those matches combined, which, I mean, he could be a good option, but even the rotation risk too. I mean, that's part of the conversation of the X minutes. But like, Liverpool probably have not the most, but the deepest attack in the Premier League, I'd say. Like they just have options everywhere. They almost have like two positions. I guess you could probably argue Chelsea may have the deepest attack.
Yeah,
with both of their squads.
There might be somewhat of a drop off in the levels,
there's
right?
a little bit
but
of a drop off.
maybe the best overall replacements. Yeah,
yeah,
I think so.
But I think Liverpool are for sure in that conversation. So that makes it just difficult unless you have somebody like Salah or I don't even know anybody else. I mean, Jota maybe nailed in their team, but even him, I mean, he's going to get subbed at 60, 65 minutes too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I really just think in the Liverpool attack, it's got to be Salah. And, I mean, I'd probably go Diaz before I went Gakpo.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But that's the same conversation because we just don't know.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. And the most enticing thing about Gakpo to me is that he's categorized as a forward in the game because this will be a good pivot into our next segment, I think. There's not a lot of great forward options right now.
Yeah,
it seems like across the board that, for one, Isak is the most popular transfer in at the moment, which makes sense because Isak has been doing the business as of late. He has, in the last 3 game weeks, he has 11 points against Leicester. He has 8 against Brentford and then 11 against Liverpool. So anyone who used that wild card in game week 13, 14, in that kind of range, good call if you brought Isak in because he hasn't. I didn't either. I just felt like I wasn't there. I don't know. And his price point was something that I was considering.
He was in a majority of my teams.
Yeah. So, we missed the boat on that one, but that doesn't mean we're too late to get in. I think that's how a lot of people are seeing it. But yeah, I really do like Isak as an option here. But the other thing is there's not a lot of good forward options. When we thought, going back 2 or 3 weeks, we thought there were so many great options. And that has completely flipped on its head because you have João Pedro, who was supposed to come in and be the 5 million version of Haaland. He's blanked for, 3 game weeks in a row now?
Mm-hmm.
Cunha, he got a return last week, but he's going to be suspended and blanked 2 or 3 game weeks before that as well. Chris Wood has cooled off a little bit. Ivan Nilsson is someone that people were looking at, and he hasn't scored a goal or gotten an assist since his hat trick of assists.
Yeah.
There's a lot of forward options out there. Nicholas Jackson has probably been the one that's performing the most consistently across the board.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at him, he has, over the past, let's say, 5 game weeks, he has 9 points, 2 points, 0 points for when he was benched against Southampton, 6 points against Villa, and then 12 points against Leicester. So, as Paul said, ticking away at the points. And he's 8.2 million. Right? That's not a horrible price point to get to. When you look at Isak is 0.5 million more. And Chelsea have the better fixtures over the long term. Jackson's probably the guy we should all be going for, but he's currently owned by 26.8% of the game, which is still really low ownership. So it's kind of a no-brainer. If you're looking for a forward, I think Jackson's probably your go-to guy. But do you feel differently, Paul?
No, honestly, I think it's Jackson, Isak, and then maybe Chris Wood. And I mean, obviously, we haven't talked about the Neanderthal in the room, Erling Haaland. I am still of the firm belief that City will turn this around eventually. They're just too good as an organization for it not to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's going to be too late, but eventually they will start playing good football again, and Haaland will start scoring goals.
He will, but the price that he's currently at is going to be really difficult. And I'm of the
unattainable
mindset,
right now.
I'm of the mindset that if I have Cole Palmer, Saka, and Salah, and I've seen at least a 0.6 to 0.8 million rise for each one of those players in my team, how in the world can I sell them? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm losing such value by doing that. And if I want to go back and get that premium that I transferred out, I am paying an arm and a leg to get them back in that I don't even know if I could get 3 of them back into my team after that. Right. So, yeah, it's going to be tricky. 2 other players that I think are interesting in the forward position. I think Mateta is someone to keep an eye on. Crystal Palace have a really good run of fixtures coming up in the very near
Minus
term
this
future.
week.
Minus this week.
Pause.
They have pause. Sorry. They have Arsenal at home. That's going to be a very difficult fixture. But then after that, it's a lot of green, with Chelsea being the one difficult fixture, and I could see Mateta returning in a match like that pretty easily. The other player that I'm somewhat interested in is Højlund.
Mm-hmm.
He has been returning. So he has 1 point last week in the Manchester Derby, but before that he had 8 points and then 2 points. But he's been scoring in Europa League as well.
And also the forward spot from United has done very well since Amarin's been there.
It has.
Big thing to highlight.
His entire system is designed to get his wing backs in the wide spaces and then use his two attacking like 8/10s to create chances for the striker running in the box. So, and Højlund's profile fits that perfectly because he's strong, very aggressive, and very athletic too. So he's good at making those runs. Højlund is someone to keep an eye on, and I do like United's fixtures. I think what happened, Paul, is you were probably just a little early on going on Højlund is what happened.
I think I was early too, but I mean, if you look at it in that match where I had Højlund starting, Xerxes had two goals. So, I mean, foundationally, I was not wrong in my decision to bring him in. It just practically didn't work out, which that would have been huge, having 2 goals in that game.
Oh, it would have been. But yeah.
That's okay. I mean, I moved off him. I've made a couple decisions over the past 4 weeks about I brought in players and taken them out either with my wild card or with transfers that I'm sitting here now man, I think my team would have been better off. I just would have left them in.
Is Anthony Robinson one of those?
No, I still have Anthony Robinson.
Oh, you still do?
He just didn't start.
I think
He's still in there. I was thinking of the darts man.
Oh, James Madison.
Yeah. That
one's
matters. Tough. I mean, it's crazy to me. I know we're talking about forwards, but I mean, he is, I think, 5th right now in the midfielders' total points for the season.
Yeah, no, he has really put in a good season. I think
he doesn't start in some of the games too. So
he's the player that's going the most under the radar at the moment.
Yeah, he could be on the radar.
But for FPL, the difficult thing is that we don't know if he's going to start
X minutes. Same thing as Gakpo.
That's the thing. So if you're going to go there, yes,
risk.
It's possible he could go for 2 goals, 1 assist. But is he going to start? So, that's definitely going to be up. Go to the managers that have a high risk tolerance, because I don't think I can quite do that to myself to go to Madison. I did think about it though. I definitely did think about it. So I think that kind of covers our forward discussion. Was there anyone else that you were thinking about that we could have brought up here? I know Wissa is somewhat popular, but I do not like Brentford's fixtures. And away from home, they just have not inspired confidence in me. And there's, just looking at their fixtures, there's way too much red on the FDR for me to go there. So,
yeah, I'm there with you, Luke. I mean, I think the only other forward I would shout out, but it's also an X minutes conversation, is Raul Jimenez.
Yes, I wanted to mention him. That's very good.
They have a really good fixture against Southampton, which we may see a new manager bounce this week. Who knows? It's possible if you want to risk it.
It is Southampton, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
But I mean, if you look at the run of fixtures too, that goes Southampton at home, Chelsea away, Bournemouth at home, Ipswich at home, West Ham away, Leicester away, Manchester United at home. Like that's a really good run of fixtures over the next like 5 or 6. So I don't know. I think he's somebody to kind of keep on your radar. Maybe you want to take a chance there. I mean, he's low budget, and like we said, I mean, if you want to go big in the midfield, which is kind of like the template right now, or the most general way people are playing, I think he's a good budget enabler too. You know,
Yeah, I think he is too. He's someone who's been on my mind a little bit because Fulham have been one of the better teams in the Premier League this season.
they've been great.
They've, gotten some late results when they maybe weren't, when they didn't get the goals early, but end up getting points out of matches, right? With that being said, Jimenez is someone that I think could be a really good option for FPL. I like the fixtures going forward. He's really cheap. And yeah, that's the thing. But my only concern there is Muniz is always laying in the back, considering
Yeah,
we should be considering him as someone that could potentially take his spot. So that's something to keep an eye on. Muniz did score against Liverpool, right? Whenever he subbed on in that 2-2 draw. So
thank God he scored.
just yeah, for sure. Yeah, okay. I think that will wrap on our forward talk. Going forward, though,
Let's just talk about the next game week.
yeah. Let's go in. Let's look at game week 17. I think the first fixture that pops out to me, speaking of Fulham, is Fulham at home with Southampton. Sorry, I can't speak. What is wrong with
That's
me?
okay. That's okay.
Southampton at home is going to be a really good fixture for Fulham. Is there anything else that pops out to you for fixtures going on in 17, Paul?
There's a couple. I like Brentford's matchup against Nottingham Forest. I think
Oh, do you? Okay.
I don't know. There's something about that matchup where I just feel like Brentford have been bouncing back and forth this year, and I feel like this is the kind of fixture that they could probably score 3 or 4 against Nottingham Forest.
Well, here's the thing. Don't look now, but Forest are currently 4th in the table.
Oh, I know. I know where they're at.
Isn't that crazy?
I'm not a believer. I can't lie. I'm not.
It's still crazy though that we're sitting here and Forest have won 3 of their last 5 fixtures and they're 4th in the table. I just at this point in December, having them be that high up is a huge credit to the club, the manager and the players there too. But it's just insane that at this point in time that they would be qualifying for Champions League. Could you imagine Forest in Champions League next season?
That would be awesome. I mean,
It really would be.
it would be something crazy to see. But like we've saw, it's a long season.
It is a very
It's
long
a long
season.
season, and I think there's been a lot of it's just a weird Premier League season. We always talk about this, but I mean, I feel like any team this year can beat. You can have a bottom table team that beats the top of the table team. And these mid-level teams are just knocking the shit out of each other right now, Like
They really are. It makes it really difficult to predict how games are
it's
going to
impossible.
play out. For example, when you have Brighton playing, who did Brighton play this week? They played
it was at home. They played Crystal Palace.
yes,
They lost 3-1 to Palace.
and Palace were better. They were better than Brighton. That's not how I saw that going. But when you look on recent form, Palace have been better. They haven't lost a match in at least 5 fixtures, and they've won 2 of their last 3.
This is why you give managers time, especially when you have injuries and big transfers at the beginning of the season. I mean, think about this. If Palace would have fired Glasner 5 weeks ago, you probably bring in an interim manager that's going to play a completely different style than what the players they have should be playing. And I mean, just think about it. I mean, Palace have, as he's been out for a majority of the season, they've had some key injuries where, I mean, if they get healthy and they can kind of put the pieces together, which it seems like they're doing right now, that's a team that some of us were thinking could be in Europe. Like
that, and going into the season, that's what we thought.
which is kind of crazy. But
I think what Palace have had to do, they've had to level set and really reorient themselves, because if you look at how they played, say game week 2, compared to how they're playing now, there's a lot more grit, a lot more determination in how they're playing. They make it difficult for teams to play around them and play through them. And Brighton's a great example. They could not do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that creates chances for them on the back end, right? And so definitely we want to give flowers to Glasner for kind of sorting this out a little bit, giving Palace a little bit of breathing room, and hopefully them continuing to move up the table, because we do think Glasner's a top manager, and hopefully he can figure out fully at Palace.
Yeah, I agree. The rest of this game week, I think we could see Liverpool and Spurs being a very high scoring fixture. Like, I could see that game just being very chaotic, very cagey. Salah having 2 goals, Son having 1, Madison having 1, or I don't know. I just think that match, I'd be very surprised that this is a low scoring match to close out the game.
Yeah, with Robertson being out too, that plays a big part in it. And Spurs back line being Archie Grace playing a center back for them currently. We'll see how that goes. I think for Tottenham, this midweek fixture where they're playing in the cup against Manchester United at home, that is going to set the tone for how this weekend fixture goes.
What a weird season for Spurs.
Yeah, it is so strange. And I think if they continue in the cup, that's going to be something that will propel them forward in the way that they have been so inconsistent, but having something that they're pushing towards, because they could still end up in Champions League, but they're not going to be competing for the Premier League title this season as much as Postecoglou would probably want them to be. They need something to keep pushing them forward and really kind of get them out of this trophy drought at this point. So having that would be really great for them. And I think if they go in, take care of business against Manchester United, then this fixture on Sunday against Liverpool becomes a lot more interesting, because they're building confidence. They have momentum going into the match, and you never know what can happen at that point. So keep an eye on how that cup match goes. And then I think that will greatly influence this match on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. So, Luke, how do you feel about Chelsea and Everton on Sunday morning?
I think that Chelsea will probably pretty easily take care of Everton. I would not be surprised, because I think this is coming from the perspective of Everton just kept a clean sheet away at the Emirates. How is Chelsea going to compare going to Goodison Park? I think Chelsea has a bit more creativity in their team currently than what Arsenal have, because their attack is a little bit more well-rounded around the edges, especially when you're looking at wide areas. They can attack from both flanks. And you have the creativity of Cole Palmer in the middle, who's probably one of the best creators in the world right now in that position that he occupies. And the goal threat that he poses offers something that Odegaard doesn't quite offer in that position. I'm not too worried about Chelsea going away to Everton. And really, at the end of the day, Arsenal still should have beat Everton, right? They just didn't take their chances. So
there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I see Chelsea coming out with maybe like a 3-1, 2-0, that kind of win. Maybe even a little bit more.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What do you think so? That's what you...
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
Okay.
I think that Everton have been very inconsistent this year too. And that's one of those matches, I think, teams, when they go away to Arsenal, I think they know that they can play spoiler. And I mean, think about it. United beat Everton 4-0 a couple weekends ago. Yeah. I mean, they've been keeping more clean sheets, and Everton's been better lately. But, like, I don't know. I just I like Chelsea to probably beat them by a couple goals.
My question to you about one of the upcoming fixtures.
Oh, God.
Leicester at home against Wolves. Is it possible to have a new manager bounce if all of your players can't play?
I don't even know. Like, as somebody that owns Cunha, I still own him, but he's coming the fuck out of my team as soon as possible. Yeah. Whenever I make transfers, I'm just waiting for the midweek fixtures to be over.
Did you see that the FA announced that he has been charged?
Yeah.
He has until Thursday, I think, to respond.
Yeah, I don't know the timeline, which if somebody knows, please shoot us a DM on Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever works for you. I don't know the process typically of, they say he's going to be suspended. He has till Thursday to respond, is what you just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when that suspension actually takes place because he can appeal it,
Well,
right? And then
it depends. Usually there's a little bit of
I think there's usually a
buffer
delay.
between the time. So
If he can play against Leicester, though, I don't think he's a bad option.
no, I wouldn't be taking him out. And I think this is just, someone correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't think they'll suspend him once the pressers go through, right? I don't think that we're going to wake up and he's suspended Sunday morning before the game. I don't think that's going to happen. So
I would hope not. That would be peak FPL though.
Oh, blue sky and X would be absolutely be burning down in that situation. So
Yeah.
As far as that, the other note that I want to make here is that game week 18, following game week 17, will be a midweek fixture.
Here we go
That's
again.
going to be Boxing Day. So that fixture will kick off. The fixtures will kick off on December 26th for game week 18. We will have all of pretty much. We'll have 8 fixtures on Thursday, and then 2 more to finish up the game week on Friday. And then game week 19 is right around the corner, starting on Sunday, December 29th.
Which is crazy.
And games being played Sunday, December 29th, Monday, December 30th, January 1st, and then we go into another game week, January 4th. That's Saturday. So make sure you are checking your teams. You're paying attention to when the deadlines are, because you don't want to be caught out, because a lot of people are going to be. Just getting your team set up and having captaincy selected, vice captaincy selected, making sure you're getting out players who are injured, using those free transfers wisely. That's going to give you a huge advantage over the next 2 to 3 weeks. So just please make sure that you're paying attention to when the deadlines are.
Yeah, I agree with Luke. This is like we always talk about, this is the fun time to be an FPL manager because we have so many game weeks piled into a short amount of time. And this is honestly, in my opinion, the make or break time for most people's seasons, because you're going to see yourself either going up the overall rank or down. And then it's not impossible to come back from either way you go. Like you can easily have a great festive fixture and then just tank after that, or you can do the opposite. But I mean, this is the time to really build into the final like what, third of your season, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is.
Just be aware of everything that Luke said, because it's
one other little caveat for game week, I believe it's 18, the Boxing Day fixtures. Good luck picking a captain that week.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. It's crazy.
We've got Salah with Leicester at home, Saka with Ipswich at home, Chelsea play Fulham at home,
City against Everton.
Man City play Everton at home. It is going to be it's going to be fucking insane. Sorry, we just ruined the monetization of the podcast there.
Oh, I already dropped the F-bomb. Maybe you missed it.
It's going to be absolutely crazy. So try and start thinking about which way you want to go. I know form will be a huge reason why people go a certain direction, but yeah, it's going to be a crazy, crazy Boxing Day. So get yourselves ready for that now, because I know I'm going to be sitting in front of a TV all day long.
Yeah, same.
And not doing anything else. So.
Same. I really wish Arsenal played on that fucking Wednesday, though. Or that Thursday.
We've got Friday, though, so we'll still be able to watch that one.
Yeah, we will. But I think that's all I have, Luke. Do you have anything you want to add to the pod?
I think we've done a great job of hopefully getting everyone ready for game week 17 and getting those teams sorted to where we're ready for this really congested period in the festive fixtures. So if you'll have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us on Blue Sky, on X. I'll send Paul your phone number if you request it.
Nice. Thanks for doing that. I appreciate it.
Completely kidding. I would never do that to Paul. But thank you all for joining us for this episode. It's been a lot of fun. And as I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah, we'll check in with you next week, guys. Thanks for being here with us.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.